Coming up in this episode, we show you highlights from the final day of the Otago Classic, and we find a risk taker. CRC Speedshow TV. I'm Sooty, this is Dave, he's the pretty one. We're getting closer and counting down to July when we all get to hang out for a weekend together at the CRC Speedshow itself. You turning up, bro?
Damn right, got free tickets. Looking forward to it as well. Meanwhile, in between now and then, we'll just appear in your faces like we are now. Good, eh? With some small snippets of automotive info and motorsport stuff here on this very show. So, let's get into it. But first...
The Rant with Sooty.
Today's rant is brought to you by the letters D and H. You work it out. It's dick and head. There are two topical things currently rattling around in this incredible brain of mine, and both of them are with the Australian supercars. The first one is aimed towards those so-called fans who are nothing but grumbling, bitchy, whiny faces with keyboards. The ones who hark back to the days of aggro and biff, wanting a return of the mongrel. But then as soon as they get it, as soon as there's some paint traded, as soon as a driver does anything against another person's pet, all hell breaks loose online. The most common description I see used is grub. It's a term used to describe someone who is lower than snail slime, like lawyers. But when it comes to supercar drivers, grub is the epitome of disgrace. Shane Van Gisbergen gets it the most. Why? Because he's aggressive and highly skilled at what he does. He's actually a bloody decent guy who, from what I can see, was raised in a loving, caring family circle. So why give him a hard time? He's genuine, he's Kiwi as, he's cheer as, but he's hated for racing hard. And he's not the only one. It's a trait of modern day social media. People are simple bullies, even though they are at the same time highly hypocritical. Supercars themselves regularly replay footage of driver confrontations. Scaife and Ingle, Murph and Ambrose. We lap it up, we love it, we want more, until it happens to our favourite driver. Then, hang on a second, that guy's a grub. Personally, I think it's awesome. The sport needs mongrel, it needs villains. This is top tier car racing. Gentlemen's ballroom dancing is at your local community hall. Most of you bitching softies who complain that someone moved over will probably be lobbying for drivers to use indicators next season. Number two, double stacking in the pit's a disgrace. Teams are being punished because venues are not up to the job of hosting the events. There have been some suggestions and some ideas of banning pit stops during the safety car. Well, what kind of nonsense is this? Double stacking is unfair. But telling teams they'll be penalised for doing it is stupid, and not letting them pit during a safety car is seemingly as dumb, although it might be the only option. Personally, I want venues to have a minimum of 30 usable garages, and generally can't afford it, then supercars, who are a big entity, should be spending money. Less on the frivolous stuff and more on venues. Help them out. This is going to be good for the sport, which helps the fans. Enough said.
Yeah, mate. No, I actually agree. I'm in your court this time. I mean, it's not a bake sale, you know. Come on, double stacking. Kind of makes me want to go and get a feed from KFC, but that's not what we're doing. News. Right, let's take a look at some of the news from around the traps. Over the ditch, a few days ago, Aussie company called Brabham Automotive released their new circuit racing supercar. It's It's called the BT62. Kind of sounds familiar. It actually looks a lot like a modernised Ford GT40. Hell of a price tag. In your ballpark though, $1.8 million. You get an Aussie-built supercar. 70 being built in Adelaide. You've got to be quick. 5.4 litre V8, punches out around 700 horsepower, just under a tonne in terms of weight. What do you reckon?
Well, I'll take two of them, a his and hers, so to speak, which means one for me and one for you. Speaking of supercars, though, the greatest ever is having its 70th birthday. Yep, the mighty Land Rover has turned the 7.0 from the series to the rangy, the mighty Discovery, the Defender. I say happy birthday to the great machine.
Didn't that look good? Speaking of which, how's yours? Back on all four now? Now, as we said earlier, CRC Speed Show is coming up very, very fast. You can get your tickets right now online, speedshow.co.nz. Get yours. Then while you're there, you can have a read about all the latest happenings at the show. You might also be able to work out who our mystery VIP is. Yeah, it's coming up fast. And speaking of fast, with all the news about Western Springs going on, I figured it would be timely to go visit one of the competitors from the joint. He's a little different because he's done something different. He's done something that 99% of the population would dare not do. Let's go back to the very beginning, Rob. Right back, before you even hopped in or saw this car. You did something that people just don't do. You decided to go racing a car. That's something people do. But you decided to go to a sprint car. That's abnormal, just quietly. Yep. Yeah. So let's go right back. Why didn't you decide, okay, I'll go jump in a 2K Cup car or a ute or a little touring car or something like that? Where did it all stem from?
I'm probably at the age now where if I'm going to get into it, I might as well go the full all, you know.
Really? That was it?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. But my son, he loves sprint cars. I've always loved sprint cars. So, yeah. I mean, if you're going to go race, you might as well. I don't have time to build up through the ranks, mate. So just go straight into it, you know.
Okay, then. So you decided, I'm going to race a car.
Yep.
Okay, I'll race a sprint car. How'd you find it? Did you just scour the papers and go, that'll do, I'll go buy one of them?
Yeah, we just basically put the word out, and a couple of the boys went looking and found the car, and yeah.
And you had really no idea what you were doing?
No idea.
This is fantastic. So you get a sprint car, you do it up, you make it pretty, you get it all cleaned up and you make it look nice, and you get your race suit, you get your helmet and your gloves and your boots, and you're all kitted up.
Yep.
And you decide, I'm a race car driver now, I'm going to go to Western Springs, right? So tell me, paint me a picture, paint us a picture.
Yeah.
You arrive at Western Springs for the first time.
Well, yeah, we turn up and everyone's sort of wondering who the new kid on the block is, expecting he's done something before. Yeah, haven't done anything really. Yeah, a bit of dirt track 25 years ago, but that doesn't count. And yeah, we went out and we only had one practice, which was about 5 laps, and that was it. we're into it, and I think the second or the third meeting I was up against Tony Stewart. So
I mean, saying that, that's something to put in a bucket list, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know, oh yeah, I did a bit of sprint. No, I've raced against Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
You don't have to expand on that.
Yeah. Well, I actually, going into the first quarter, I was a little bit excited. It just went completely sideways right in front of him, so I could have taken him out, so luckily I didn't. But he ended up standing next to me in the infield a few laps.
So you got to chat to good old mate, good old racing buddy.
Yeah, got to shake his hand and say hello. Yeah.
Let's go back then. So you rock in. Yep. People are wondering who's this bright yellow brand new sprint car turned up to the track. Yep. You strut out, you got your overalls on, you're trying to act as cool as cucumber, right?
Trying to, yeah.
Trying to.
Yeah.
What was going through the brain?
Basically as the crew chief Blair Davey, he's been around racing a long time. He sort of said pretty much just relax and just slowly build, slowly try to get a bit quicker and quicker and see how you go.
Hang on a second though, you've got what, 850 horsepower in something that weighs like what,
600 kg,
and
yeah.
he tells you just take it easy for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first few laps.
take it easy and try to be smooth, and that's what pretty much everyone has said. The smoother you are, the better you can get into it, and try not to go all over the place and be smooth on the throttle. But yeah, they're pretty rapid, eh?
Okay, so you came in, you went out, you did your duty, you did your 5 laps for practice, your first time ever in a sprint car, you go out, you do a race, you come back into your little pop-up garage at Western Springs, you hop out, what went through the brain then?
That was
I'm
pretty
alive.
Cool. That was pretty cool, eh? It was, yeah, like the adrenaline. Yeah, it keeps going for about a week after driving one of these. Yeah,
I can imagine.
Pretty cool.
They didn't like restrict your throttle to half?
No, they start you off on a mentor program, but my mentor sort of come up to me after the first race night and said, "You're doing okay. Just keep doing what you're doing."
Go through that, the mentor program.
Well, basically, you can't go out there and just take off without someone watching what you're doing, and they make sure that you're following certain rules, pole line, and you're not getting in the way and becoming a hazard. I was actually quite intimidated by the car because there was throttle issues that we had as well, so we've fixed those. So it was quite funny because the throttle was sticking. I had no brakes, the throttle was sticking. So when I go into the corner, I take my foot off, the car's still going and I had no brakes. And then I stand on the brakes and I'm lifting the throttle and the car comes off and it wants to launch itself sideways. And the funny thing is the first night I get the car all working, I stand on the brakes and the car flips over. So yeah, if you stand too hard on the brakes, the car wants to roll over. So yeah, they're a beast to drive. Yeah.
You've gone through probably the hardest learning curve of all in motorsport, really, doing that. I mean, you might as well jump into a Formula 1 car and say, try and get off the grid. Yeah. And then you've got an atmosphere like Western Springs,
fantastic.
where you've got tens of thousands of people watching you, and you know they're picking you apart. Yeah. How did you get rid of them in your head, or couldn't you?
Yeah, it doesn't really faze me. If anything, it's probably a better thing, you know.
In regards to your pace compared to the front runners, were they lapping you much?
At the start, yeah. At the beginning, it was my first night out. I got lapped. I don't think I got lapped by everyone, but I got lapped by the top guys maybe twice. And then as I sort of progressed, as the season went on, sort of by the third meeting, they would lap me once. And then by the end of it, even before we fixed the car, I was on the same lap. Maybe as 90% of the cars, maybe the likes of Pickens and Larson and maybe McDonald got past me again, but the rest of the guys sort of held at bay, you know. So I definitely was improving, and I was pretty happy with my times. They were getting quicker and quicker.
I want to close off this brief interview by getting an opinion piece from you, because Western Springs you've watched for so many years as a fan. Now you've suddenly appeared there as a driver. And it's very close to being closed, to being shut down. Your thoughts on that? Oh,
it's devastating, eh? Yeah, absolutely. I actually sent the council an email. It blows me away that after so many years of enjoyment, and it's right across the country, you know, so many people that have come and gone through Auckland and from around the world have all said it's one of the best events that they can go to for the cost of it. What, 25 bucks for someone to rock up and have a huge night of entertainment, because it is entertainment. And I think Greg Mosen and the crew at Western Springs do an outstanding job. There's always something happening. There's things off the track, there's things on the tracks. It's one of the, I mean, I took my son, and he's been going since he was about 1, and he just absolutely adores the drivers and everything. He's always talking about it, you know. And now that I'm driving, it's even better.
Yeah, even more so. Okay, appreciate that. We look forward to following your adventures, I think we'll call it, over the next season. And people will be watching this now. The Yale Pallet Supplies ITM bright yellow sprint car with Rob Vasey behind the wheel. Look, the guy's nuts. I mean, look at him, clearly.
Straight to sprint car. It's nuts. Anyway, keep an eye out for him next season. See how much improvement he's made. Now, in our last episode, we brought you the first day of competition from that recently held Otago Classic Rally that he got to go to, but I didn't get to go to because apparently I'm not allowed in Dunedin anymore. Let's go and check out the conclusion, shall we?
Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Drive South Rally Fest and our coverage of the classic Otago Rally, where from the front to the back competition is fierce. Now teams bring out a wide variety of machinery, and that is what makes this event so special.
Yes, yeah, Corey Bush was bloody magic.
It's the favourite stage, isn't it?
It is. It's all good.
Plan of attack for Sunday's drives?
Yeah, well, the brakes are good now, so yeah, we'll probably sort of try and go reasonably hard and get a couple of good times under our belt and see how we go.
The event has now introduced a 4-wheel drive classic section, but those have the look and feel of a genuine rally car, where in the 2-wheel drives, some retain the look of the family wagon.
If you're going to build a rally car, a car that's been in your family for quite a number of years. My mum used to drive me to school in the car back in the early 80s. My sister learnt to drive in the car, so I ended up with it and decided to make it into a rally car. Why not?
So you've broken family tradition. It can no longer be passed down except in a race car format.
Well, my mum keeps wanting to get her car back one day, but you know, she hasn't ridden with me yet. Kerry Bush today was just an absolute dream, and I must say, I watched a fair few Hayden Padden videos on YouTube, and that actually, for once, it really, really helped me.
Now we all know that Escorts are the most popular classic rally car, but again, they're not the only classic rally car.
Something different, why not? We have fun with it.
What made you choose it?
Originally, it was always a hankering to build a replica of the London to Sydney car, and finished up building it and using it.
Was it a hard project?
3.5 years, as and when I could find the money and the parts to put it together.
We are having a fantastic time. We love the roads, we love the people, and it's definitely on our list to come back to again.
It would be impossible to have a rally without retirements and breakdowns, which is sad, but it's always a good thing when they can repair and remain in the mix.
We're having a bit of fun, trying to throw a few stones in the scenery, and it's just a bit of testing really, just trying to get a few of these little gremlins out of the car. So look, it's good. The car's going not too bad. It won't rev over about $7,000. Just got a bit of a misfire there, so we're just short shifting, but it's going not too bad. Times are okay.
For Mads Osberg, our international star, it was the same issue as Saturday, bending another arm.
And flat left over crest, 70. Narrow 3 left minus, keeping. Shit.
Again?
Again, not you.
Fortunately, the local cocky had a Waratah and a welder.
Yeah, BT, my chief mechanic, is just now faxed the paper to Paris to the FIA to get it homologated. And seems like everything passed through, and yeah, we are good to go. I'm not used to the old cars, so maybe I expect a little bit too much from them, and probably I am. So, but the guys are amazing. They will fix the car wherever I stop and just send me right back out there.
And with the help of fellow Aussie Keith Callanan, whose engine was sitting on the floor in Dunedin, Stuart Reid has remained in the game as well.
I'm looking after it, KC, promise. Look, today's gone quite good. I was under strict instructions not to buzz the engine, so I haven't gone over the red line, KC. It's been under the limiter all day. So I was trying to go a little bit quicker on some of the tighter stuff. And on one of my notes I had care. I should have probably listened. So yeah, we sort of went over and had a look at this bank, had a look at the foliage that was there for a little while, and came back on the road and thought, better not do that again.
Miles McElwain had electrical problems which theoretically put him out of contention in the 1600 class, but he's not going to let the others take spoils without a fight.
Currently we're third and we're being beaten by a couple of startups, which is really good for them, but I don't think we're going to be able to make up 20 minutes on the second place getter. So if we can keep our third place, I'll be quite satisfied with that.
Graham Ferguson also lost time with a flat tyre, but he's loving the fast roads and representing his West Coast roots.
A little town Greymouth, we've got a strong little club there in the Western Car Club. So we had our Western Rally 3 weeks ago, which was a good shakedown for here, and a lot of the top runners in the classic class were there as well.
But up front, it's still the Dean Buist and Regan Ross show, and who knows how things will pan out.
The first one, the car just was hooking up. And it was, yeah, it's just basically felt so natural to fang it. So no, we just went hard and yeah, did a really good time.
And we're driving, I think, the same pace as yesterday, and he's just got a bit more pace on us. I'd say there's a bit of traction today, and that's allowing him to get a bit more speed, and maybe he's, you know, trying a bit harder, but who knows? Oh, you can give Dean Buist a wheelbarrow and he'd go through the stage and still be top 10.
I so love the classic rally. It's dominated by the escorts, but I have a funny fetish for the rotaries.
Not here, mate. Not here.
I can't explain why. Speaking of fetishes, we're going to say goodbye now with a look at number 3 of our top 5 strangest forms of motorsport. I mean, we need to let Dave here know all the options before he decides which one he's going to do. So far, we've had skid plate racing, sidecar motocross, and now, well, enjoy. See you later.